everyone, this is your host John and I welcome you back to another episode of The Subcontinent. Our program aims to address important issues in the subcontinent which affect the governments, people, organization and the region of South Asia as a whole. We will try to explain the issues, break down controversies surrounding them and try to have some external perspectives from experts and people.
In this edition of The Subcontinent, we are going to talk about the recent ceasefire agreement between India and Pakistan that has brought back relative peace along the disputed border areas. Then we will explore the reverberations of the New Deal in the domestic and foreign politics of the two countries, as well as its numerous repercussions for the geopolitical future of Asia.
India and Pakistan have recently issued a joint statement to announce that they will strictly observe all of their agreements on ceasefire along the so-called line of control and other disputed areas. This was the first joint statement in nearly 20 years. Historically, whenever ceasefires are announced via different statements, they tend to fail. But a joint statement by both militaries is a proof that the deal is a result of back-channel negotiations and may have a better chance to last. Should it hold, the new agreement may be a big deal for India and Pakistan, and arguably for the whole world.
The recent India-Pakistan ceasefire agreement along the so-called line of control has brought relative calm to border areas, which were the scenes of bloody conflicts for much of the 2020 well into this year. After over a decade of fighting since their last similar deal, the Director Generals of Military Operations of the two nations issued a rare joint statement that put into effect the cessation of hostilities since late February. The generals said from now on they want to address each other's core issues and concerns, and also envisage pullback of specialized forces that are stationed for transborder offensive maneuvers and operations. Since their Great Partition, Islamabad and New Delhi have been caught in a vicious circle that has been deadly and devastating, and have come up with numerous agreements with limited longevity. But the New Deal is reported to be the result of many rounds of high-level back-channel negotiations away from the public eye, and probably many politicians. Hence, hopes are a little higher. However, their flimsy communication hotline is still in a nascent stage, and only a test of time will tell if it has the potential to create a lasting peace between the two nuclear-armed countries.
ऑब्वियसली ये दोनों ममालिक के लिए एक बहुत अच्छी खबर होगी, क्योंकि दोनों ममालिक जैसे हम पड़ोसी हैं, हमारे बॉर्डर साथ हैं, ठीक है। पहले हम सब कॉन्टिनेंट में इकट्ठे रहते थे, तो अब अगर हमारे आपस में ताल्लुकात अच्छे होंगे तो आपस में दोनों ममालिक के जो अवाम है उनकी तजारत को फ़रोग़ मिलेगा, ठीक है। इससे दोनों ममालिक में, क्योंकि पाकिस्तान की भी अच्छी पॉपुलेशन है और इंडिया की जितनी बड़ी मार्केट है, उससे आप खुद ही सोचिए कि पाकिस्तान की जो मतलब इंटरनली प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, आप वो अगर इंडिया में आप एक्सपोर्ट करते हैं या इंडिया से आप कुछ इंपोर्ट करते हैं, आपको उस पर ड्यूटी कितनी कम देनी पड़ेगी।
हिंदुस्तान अगर पाकिस्तान की आपस में मोहब्बतें बढ़ेंगी, आपस में अगर सद्भावना बढ़ेगी, व्यापार बढ़ेगा, आवाम को खुशी होगी। हमारे आधे से ज़्यादा रिश्तेदार तो वहाँ हैं, अभी एक ख़ानदान है जो हिंदुस्तान में पड़ा है। सिस्टम ही क्या नाम, अगर मोहब्बत हो जाए तो सारा ये लड़ाई झगड़े फसाद सारे ख़त्म हो जाएं।
Weeks after India and Pakistan agreed on quote-unquote strict observance of the 2003 ceasefire, the pact continues to be followed on the ground with no apparent signs of violation. With the renewal of their commitment to nearly 2-decade-old ceasefire along the border, the winds of change are blowing in relations of the two. But are they strong enough to turn the tide in the deep sea of distrust between the two classic adversaries?
India and Pakistan, along with other nations in South Asia, are members of a subcontinental civilizational family tied together by bonds of shared culture, religion, race and language. The fathers of Pakistan and India wanted them to live in peace, not in permanent conflict. Mahatma Gandhi had the audacity to publicly call both India and Pakistan as his country. Although geographically and politically India is divided in two, at heart we shall be friends and brothers, helping and respecting one another and be one for the outside world, Gandhi famously said on January 26, 1948, just 4 days before his assassination at the hands of a Hindu extremist. Muhammad Ali Jinnah also desired good and neighbourly relations, something he described as an association similar to that between the US and Canada.
बात यह है कि पाकिस्तान और इंडिया दो पड़ोसी ममालिक है। 1947 से पहले हम इकट्ठे भी रह रहे थे। दोनों तरफ जो है रिश्तेदारियां हैं, ख़ानदान हैं, दोनों तरफ जो है रिश्ते हो चुके हैं, पहले भी चलते आ रहे हैं। तो अगर इनके दरमियान मुज़ाकरात होते हैं और इनके आपस में जो है वो दुश्मनी वाली कैफियत उसमें कभी कमी आ जाती है, तो इससे खित्ते के ऊपर बड़े बेहतरीन असरात पैदा होंगे।
The ceasefire accord heralds a new era of Indo-Pak ties, but only if it can withstand the likely setbacks along the way. There are multitudes of concurring or conflicting forces, both in support and opposition of the new momentum for peace, from inside the two countries, militaries, parliaments or administrations, along with regional and international players with some stake in the game.
If there is a peace, of course, the whole region will enjoy, the whole region will develop, the whole region will welcome. Against this, if there is any confrontation, because India and Pakistan both are the nuclear states and they have the capabilities to destroy each other completely. That will be disaster not only for India and Pakistan but for the whole region. The peace is only hope, and the hope for the Asia, for the whole region. I believe that all other countries in the Asia, they will appreciate and they will like it.
The timing of the newly achieved agreement was the source of a lot of contentious speculations in itself. It happened after months of secret talks, but suspiciously around at the same time India reached a somehow similar deal with China. This has caused many to question Beijing's role during the back-channel meetings. Another touchy subject purportedly linked to the ceasefire is the election of Joe Biden into the White House. Many argue that if Donald Trump had managed to stay in office, such an agreement would never have been clinched.
Given the hype in expectations and the special discourse and circumstances around the ceasefire, the agreement seems more than a strategic maneuver or a solitary move. With the impression that it is only the first step in a longer peace process, the announcement could not have emerged without top-notch diplomatic work by the two governments, and probably with some help from others. The influence of Beijing on the deal, or where China stands in this complex geopolitical equation, has remained unclear, but the timing of the agreement indicates a high correlation, as the Indo-Pak deal was publicized following another Himalayan de-escalation effort in the India-China border areas. In any conceivable scenario, the future of the new treaty will be intertwined with the dynamics of the two countries' relations with China. Another external factor with considerable weight on the ceasefire can be the new US administration. India wants China contained but does not want to do the job itself. When Donald Trump was in office, Premier Narendra Modi was certain of Washington's harsh approach towards Beijing. But with Joe Biden at the helm, India needs new tactics to control the extent of interactions between its two main rivals, Pakistan and China.
Washington is far away from this region, and we do not know how much interest they have in the peace in this region. But of course, they are close allied with India. They are bound in Quad alliance with Japan, Australia, India, and America. They of course are very much concerned about India. About Pakistan, we were close allied with the Western world during the Cold War, but since for last couple of decades, Washington was keeping distance from Pakistan and tilting toward India more and more.
Last year was the worst year since the 2003 ceasefire, as the two armies recorded about 5,000 bouts of skirmishes in border areas. But worst year for whom? Many of the killed or injured people are not even from the two countries' militaries. Most of them are the innocent inhabitants of the border villages stuck in a decades-long political conundrum, mainly over Kashmir. Indian and Pakistani authorities have often described the Kashmir issue as their only real problem. But can this new deal solve the issue of Kashmir forever?
Since their independence from British colonial rule in 1947, India and Pakistan have fought many wars, with regular fatal scuffles across the tumultuous borders. Almost all the efforts to bring peace and normalcy have crumbled with no breakthrough, mostly due to their irreconcilable positions on Kashmir. The Indian government abrogated the special constitutional status of Jammu and Kashmir in 2019, making the would-be independent Kashmir a federally controlled territory. For Islamabad, Kashmir is essential to the idea of Pakistan's creation, and any acceptance of the new status quo is bound to be seen as letting down the Kashmir cause. Unless India and Pakistan reach an understanding on the way forward in their Kashmir policies, the people of Kashmir will be the actual sufferers of the new diplomatic feat. Any future for the virtually non-existent bilateral relationship between India and Pakistan is only imaginable if they find a solution for Kashmir. A united Asia is only possible with a balanced triangle of power among China, India and Pakistan, in addition to close cooperation with other powerhouses like Russia and Iran. This is not a reality yet, not until a solution is found for Kashmir.
देखिए मैं समझता हूँ कि जो हमारी खारजा पॉलिसियाँ हैं मतलब दोनों मुल्कों की, इनको बेहतर होना चाहिए। अब आए दिन इंडिया मतलब कश्मीर में मामला ख़राब कर रहा है, अटैक करता है, तो पाकिस्तान भी मतलब जाहिर सी बात है इसका जवाब देता है, तो मतलब इससे मामला बहुत ख़राब हो रहे हैं। मैं समझता हूँ कि अगर ये दोनों मुल्क अपनी खारजा पॉलिसियाँ अच्छी बना लें तो ठीक हो सकते हैं, हालात बेहतर हो सकते हैं।
अगर इन दोनों मुल्कों में मुस्कुराहट हो जाए तो काफ़ी इम्पैक्ट होगा इसके बारे में। हमें इंपोर्ट एक्सपोर्ट में फ़ायदा होगा। इंडिया और पाकिस्तान को, ये दोनों पड़ोसी मुल्क हैं, पड़ोसी मुल्क को चाहिए कि इकट्ठा रहना चाहिए, और क्योंकि इसमें हमें बहुत फ़ायदे हैं। कश्मीर पे इतने लोगों पे जुल्म किया जा रहा है, तो वो भी इससे रुक जाएगा, और मुल्कों को दोस्ती में आपस में दोस्ती से रहना चाहिए, और इससे हमें काफ़ी मतलब फ़ायदा हो सकता है।
Now, to have more insight and analysis, we are joined by Mr. Ravi Nitesh. He is a social activist and the founder of Aghaaz-e-Dosti. Mr. Nitesh, welcome to the show. So, there have been ceasefires throughout the history between India and Pakistan. Do you think this one would beg to differ and last?
Actually, what we see that first of all, this ceasefire pact that happened between the DGMOs of India and Pakistan is definitely a positive step. Whether it is different from the past or not is a separate question, because this is not the first ceasefire pact. Actually, ceasefire goes into the history since 1949, when the ceasefire line was drawn between India and Pakistan, and it followed in 1972 Simla Agreement, when the ceasefire line converted into line of control. And even after that, when in 1999 the Kargil conflict happened between India and Pakistan, then the ceasefire violations goes up to very high level. And even after that, in 2003, there was a ceasefire agreement between the government of India and government of Pakistan. And after the 2003 ceasefire agreement, there is a drastic lowering down of ceasefire violations incidents. If you will see the numbers, you will find that in 2002, there were more than 8,000 ceasefire violations happened in 1 year. While after the agreement happened between government of India and Pakistan at the time of Vajpayee and Musharraf, so at that time in 2004 it drastically goes to nil, and then again from the 2003 to 2004, 5, 6, 7, 8 it goes to normal, and after 2012-13 it again started increasing. 2013 there was again a DGMO ceasefire promise that they will follow the ceasefire. 2018 again DGMOs promised each other that they will follow the ceasefire. And now it is 2021. Because this year, if we will see 2020, there were more than 5,100 ceasefire violations. And when it comes to human cost, it is huge and huge. So what I see that this is definitely a positive step, but frankly, I don't see that it is very different from the historical ceasefire agreements that happened in the past, but always denied and violated.
All right, so you think that it's a positive step, but it won't make much difference. So moving ahead, Indian and Pakistani authorities have often described the issue of Kashmir as their only real problem. Can this new deal solve the issues in Kashmir?
No, I definitely don't think that this new deal can solve the problem. But definitely, if there are ceasefire violations, then it is means very highlighted issue on both the sides. And if the local population will be affected and the local environment will be unstable, then definitely there can be no other talks. So if ceasefire agreement has happened, even if between the DGMOs, which is only means army sites on both the sides, it's army ranks DGMOs, and when DGMO agreed that ceasefire will be observed, then definitely the government's diplomatic and political channels can become active to talk on other issues, including the Kashmir, because Kashmir is not the only issue on both the sides. There are many other issues, including Kashmir. So it can help in creating a positive environment to take other CBMs or to talk on other things. Because when we see that there were many CBMs that were taken already on place between both the countries. There were buses going on from India to Pakistan, Pakistan to India. There were trade, there were postal services, but all are stopped. All are stopped. At present, there is no trade, there is no bus going on, there is no postal services. So what we think as a civil society persons, as a people who support the peace and people-to-people relations, that definitely this ceasefire pact brings a positive impact, a positive hope for everyone, and particularly for the people who are living near the borders and in the Jammu and Kashmir area towards Indian side as well as towards Pakistan side.
All right, Mr. Nitesh, before moving ahead, our team has collected a few global media coverages in this regard, and I would appreciate if you could just take a look and then we can move forward.
The Director Generals of Military Operations of India and Pakistan held discussions over the established mechanism of hotline contact. The two sides reviewed the situation along the line of control and all other sectors in a free, frank and cordial atmosphere, in the interest of achieving mutually beneficial and sustainable peace along the borders. The two militaries agreed to address each other's core issues and concerns which have propensity to disturb peace and lead to violence. Both sides reiterated that existing mechanisms of hotline contact and border flag meetings will be utilized to resolve any unforeseen situation or misunderstanding. The 2003 ceasefire came at a time when Pakistan, in the wake of 9/11, was under tremendous pressure from the US to clean up its act. This unwritten ceasefire was preceded by a back-channel process that had begun around 2000. It led to the Musharraf-Vajpayee joint statement in which Pakistan declared it would not permit any terrorist group to operate in its territory or launch a terrorist attack from its territory on foreign soil. For people living alongside the LoC, ceasefire have revived their lives, brought peace and given security after about 10 years of war-like situation prevailing in the border areas. The people in this belt were the main victims of any shelling. Now, the families residing in this area have started social functions and inviting friends and relatives to their houses. The habitats have again got an opportunity of secured life with honor and dignity. It is a fact that ceasefire will provide huge relief to people living in border areas alongside the lock on both sides and open the gates for further steps towards normalcy.
All right, welcome back, Mr. Nitesh. So, if peace can establish between India and Pakistan, will it help create a united Asia?
See, when it comes to United Asia, if one will see the India and Pakistan, so first of all they see that it lies in South Asia, and one can see that the South Asian Regional Coordination, that is SAARC. SAARC is almost failed concept, only because India and Pakistan were not agreed to go hand in hand with each other. Since 2016, there is no meeting of SAARC since 2016, and whenever the SAARC meets, there are issues arise of India and Pakistan. There are many other countries. Nepal is there, Bhutan is there, Maldives is there, Sri Lanka is there, Bangladesh is there, Afghanistan is there in the SAARC. But all other issues come went to back foot when it comes to India and Pakistan conflict. So definitely I think if India and Pakistan can go hand in hand, can compromise on each other, can settle their long unresolved disputes, and can observe the ceasefire, can carry the promise of developing a regional coordination and peace, then definitely it can not only help the India and Pakistan but also the whole South Asia. And because the South Asia region is connected with all other regions like Central Asia, Middle East, Southeast Asia, and all these the Asia region has a huge potential if they will just coordinate with each other and just cooperate with each other. You see that when it comes to IPI, Iran, Pakistan, India pipeline, so you see that this pipeline can definitely serve a big goal, a huge purpose of energy needs in Pakistan as well as in India. But it is not happening. It is not. When it comes to China, we see that China is a big country. China is a very big country. And when it comes to China, Pakistan, India, then Afghanistan, Iran, Iraq, Saudi Arabia, so Russia. So all these Asian players can definitely, if they will coordinate with each other and cooperate with each other, I must believe that the Asian continent can reach a greater height.
All right, that marks the end of this question answer session. Thank you so much, Mr. Nitesh, for being with us. Viewers, now people have voiced their opinions on social media and cyberspace, so let's just take a quick look at what they think.
Team Bharat wrote on Twitter, "Thread India and Pakistan have provided a sigh of relief to their citizens, especially the ones who live right next to the barbed wires marking the line of control. The ceasefire agreement on Indo-Pak border is a positive initiative wholly welcomed by India." Samir P. Lalwani posted on his Twitter, "In the last 3 years alone, 341 civilians had died in the border firing that included small arms and artillery shelling." Tara believes step 1 is to evolve a clear and relatively transparent, clear border management strategy between the two sides, but that means Pakistan giving up terror seems unlikely.
All right, and that was our episode covering the peace deal between India and Pakistan. To watch bits of our episodes and more updates, follow us on our social media platforms, and please make sure to give us feedback about what you think. We'll meet the same time, same day next week. Thanks for watching.